Yes. Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to this event organized by Pune International Center in collaboration with the College of Engineering Pune Technological University and IEEE Pune section. I am Nupur Kulkarni and I will be your anchor for this session. We are gathered here to explore a topic of immense national and global significance, Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Semiconductors Opportunity. Semiconductors are not just microchips. They are the lifeblood of the modern digital world. As Chris Miller aptly said in his acclaimed book, Chip War, every device that computes, stores, or transmits information depends on semiconductors. This critical technology underpins industries from healthcare to defense, and it's central to India's aspirations of becoming a global technological leader. Today's event brings together distinguished leaders, industry stalwarts, and the brightest young minds to shed light on India's semiconductor ecosystem and the opportunities it presents for innovation, self-reliance, and growth. To begin this journey, it's my privilege to invite Dr. Sunil Birud, Vice Chancellor of COEP Tech, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, Honorable Dr. Mashelkar, dignitaries on the dais, other invited guests, deans, directors, and faculty member, students from the COEP. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all, sir, for this PIC IEEE Pune section initiative on Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is semiconductor opportunity. In fact, we have been talking about the opportunities that the India has in semiconductor field. And this, the PIC has given us the opportunity to host this program. It's actually a PIC program hosted by COEP. As you know, many of you know that this university has a big history, 170 years of legacy, and has gone through various transformations from the school to institute to autonomous institution, and then we have become university. And when we are talking about the opportunities, as you know that the central government and the state government, they are coming out with various national missions, and the state is following the same state is following the same at state level. Like we have a national mission on quantum, we have a national mission on AI, and so on. Also, the national mission on semiconductor, on the same ground, the state government is also deliberating on creating the facilities and the manpower required for the industry being set up, the semiconductor industry being set up in Maharashtra and the country. For that purpose also, sir, as you know, we have pioneered in implementation of National Education Policy 2020, and under that policy, we have got a flexibility to introduce various courses at undergraduate and postgraduate level, bringing the flexibility in the curriculum and delivery. We also, we have a course on VLSI technology, a postgraduate level course. We do teach various courses at the undergraduate level. Some of them they are in sequence, and some of them they are offered as interdisciplinary courses to other branches other than the electronics and telecommunication branch. We are starting from this year courses on AI, that is AI in healthcare, which is another area, of course, where a lot of the innovations in AI and also the supporting hardware required, that is semiconductor development, which suits the wearable devices and allows the wearable devices manufacturing, all that. So we are offering the course in AI in, of course, we'll be offering course in AI in healthcare, AI in signal and image processing, also intelligent communication. So these are the new courses we have planned from the academic session 2025. These courses will be offered by our own faculty as well as the industry experts in collaboration with various industries and our own alumni. We have a huge base of alumni in the country as well as in USA. And we are talking with the alumni, and they are very happy to spare their time and ready for teaching those courses wherever the expertise is not available in the university. And those initiatives are going on. We also have a Center of Excellence in Surface Mounting Technology. 2 batches of students are trained with a capacity of 20 each, which has a huge capacity. We can go up to thousands of students trained on that SMD facility what is available in the university. We are talking with the industry, finding out collaborative initiatives for training the manpower required for that for the semiconductor industries. We are also coming out with a separate campus at Chikli, which is around 20 kilometers away from this place. And that campus is a translational research campus, like the research facilities created at IIT Madras and IIT Bombay. So we have identified certain industries, and we are in talk with those industries to establish their research centers in the Chikli campus. And that campus will be available by the end of February. So these are the initiatives we are taken at the university level, and we do have a lot of plans in future to doubling our capacity from the present 5,000 students to 10,000 students in near future, and creating the ecosystem and infrastructure to accommodate all those students on campus. This is all about the university and the initiatives what we have taken and what we have planned in near future. I'll conclude with, again, thanks with the PIC for giving us the opportunity to host this session and giving me the opportunity to brief about my university. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Birud, for your inspiring words and for highlighting the critical role of institutions such as COEP Tech in fostering innovation and research. Up next, we have the honor of hearing from Padma Vibhushan Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, President of Pune International Center, a globally renowned scientist and a visionary leader. Dr. Mashelkar has been a guiding force in India's quest for technological and scientific excellence. Sir, we are eager to hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunil Birod, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mr. Rob Anderson, Dr. Jyotika Athavale, Dr. Ritu Sodhi, Dinanath Kolkar, my very dear friend, General Nitin Gadkari, ladies and gentlemen. It's always great to be in this hall. It's a great institution, and I have very fond memories of many occasions when one had a chance to speak to the future of India. So I welcome you all. This event actually brings together such brilliant minds and a shared vision for future shaped by innovation and technology. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Sunil Birod for his warm welcome and for hosting this important event. COEP, with its rich legacy of over 170 years, continues to be a beacon of excellence in engineering education, not only in Maharashtra but in India. Its place where visionaries are nurtured and the seeds of India's technological advancements are planted. I want to extend a very warm and a very special word of welcome to you, Dr. Jyotika Athavale, President of IEEE Computer Society. You have been not only a leader in innovative technologies through your extensive career in major companies like Synopsys, NVIDIA, and Intel, but also a role model for advancing women in STEM and other underrepresented groups. Feel very, very proud of you, and thank you very much for joining us. A round of applause. What is this? A smile and a clap doesn't cost anything, please. All right, so give them in abundance when you feel happy. I'm also very happy to know that COEP Tech has accepted our request to showcase the innovation that have won the prestigious Anjani Mashelkar prizes. Over the years, I had set up this foundation 14 years ago. What it does, these innovations are really innovations, Indian innovations made for India. And they do the magic of making high technology work for the poor. They represent affordable excellence, because normally affordability and excellence don't go together. And you will see that they represent affordable excellence. Access equality, despite income inequality, looks impossible. But you will see they create that magic. So I'm quite sure that this is going to be a great motivation for our young engineers who have to think of India and what India needs. So thank you for being so generous as to give us that opportunity. Additionally, I'm delighted to hear that the ENTC department of COEP has set up a Center of Excellence for Advanced Electronics Manufacturing, as well as a research lab focused on 5G and 6G technologies. These efforts will undoubtedly play a key role in advancing our understanding of next generation communication technologies and preparing the next generation of engineers to take the challenges of an increasingly connected world. I must also mention that Dina, my very dear friend and a professor of practice of COEP, he keeps on regularly updating me on the transformative initiatives that he is driving. Just recently, COEP leadership, along with students from the Electrical Engineering Department and the faculty, participated in the PIC Roundtable on Sustainable Lighting in December 2024. And this is the kind of forward-thinking, interdisciplinary collaboration that is needed to create sustainable, tech-driven solutions for our future. We must also take a moment to reflect on how we can reimagine educational institutions to provide a truly superlative experience for students and researchers, where institutions like COEP are already leading the charge. What are these big challenges that the world is facing today? I was just mentioning, in COVID times, of course, it was COVID, climate and conflict, but there is one more that people added, and that was the chips. And today, we are at a pivotal moment in history. The semiconductor industry, often called the backbone of the digital world, has the potential to not only drive India's technological future, but also position us as a global leader. As our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently highlighted, India is entering TechAid, and the semiconductor sector is at the heart of this transformation. We have seen some remarkable developments recently. The semiconductor fabrication facility in Dholera, Gujarat, being set up by Tata Electronics, marked the first of its kind in India. while Assam at the other end is setting up to become a key hub for semiconductor assembly, with the Jagirod facility being developed by Tata Electronics as well. These projects are not only a boost to India's industrial infrastructure, but are also aligned with the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. The semiconductor industry's potential is immense. By 2030, global demand for semiconductors is expected to cross $1 trillion, and India's demand will exceed $110 billion. This is a golden opportunity for our country to not only meet its own growing demands, but also become a key player in the global semiconductor supply chain. The Tata Electronics initiative in Assam is a game changer. With 5 lakh jobs projected across various sectors, such as semiconductors, electric vehicles, batteries, these facilities will play a major role in empowering local communities and offering unprecedented opportunities in Northeast India. The Jagirod facility will focus on critical technologies for applications such as automotive, telecommunications, and 5G, contributing to India's much-needed technological self-reliance. As we look to build a robust semiconductor ecosystem, cities like Pune, our own Pune, are key to the transformation. Pune, with its growing technology hub, skilled workforce, and academic institutions like our COEP, is actually ideally positioned to contribute to the semiconductor industry. The collaboration between academia, industry, and government will be crucial in developing a thriving research and development environment, one that supports innovations in semiconductor technology, advanced packaging, and the next generation of electronics applications, including electrical vehicles and 5G. COEP, as an incubator of talent, as Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned, and entrepreneurship, will play an instrumental role in nurturing innovators of tomorrow. The focus on startups and research at COEP's Bhau Institute, and I've been very proud, right from breaking the original coconut to chairing the governing council, I've been associated with it, and very proud to see the progress it has made. Its centers of excellence and collaborations with industry are the kinds of initiatives that will drive India's leadership in high-tech sectors. I encourage all of you, especially our young students, to seize the opportunities in these emerging sectors and contribute to the nation's technological revolution. As we strive towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, the semiconductor industry stands as a cornerstone of this vision. By focusing on R&D, innovation, and skill development, we can create an ecosystem that will not only make India self-reliant, but also world leader in cutting-edge technologies. India is, my friends, is on the verge of technological renaissance, and you are the ones who are going to drive it, not 80-year-olds like me. The future lies in your hands. So together, we'll not only shape India's future, but also contribute significantly to the global technological landscape. Thank you once again for having me here. Let's continue to work together to realize the dreams of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vikasit Bharat and position India as a semiconductor powerhouse. Why not dream powerhouse of semiconductor powerhouse? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mashelkar, for your address. Your insights into the transformative potential of semiconductors inspire everyone to think bigger and aim higher in our journey towards self-reliance. I now invite Mr. Dinanath Kholkar, Research Track Lead at Pune International Center for Science, Technology and National Innovation Ecosystem, to provide us the latest updates. As you all know, he is also Professor of Practice at COEP Tech. Mr. Kholkar, over to you.
Thank you, Nupur. It's a great pleasure to be here standing in front of the entire COEP student community, faculty, many of whom I have been working very closely over the last 6 to 12 months. Thank you, Dr. Mashelkar, first of all, for this brilliant idea. Obviously, all great ideas come from Dr. Kelkar. So it was actually Dr. Kelkar's idea to host this event here at COEP. And for a very special reason that Dr. Kelkar, again another Padma Vibhushan from Pune, also is alumnus of COEP. So Dr. Kelkar unfortunately could not be here, but I'm sure he will watch the recording of this session. So dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, dear friends. I lead the research track for Science, Technology and Innovation Ecosystem at Pune International Center. And I just wanted to give an update on the areas that we are focusing on. So one of the first areas that we picked up was on water security. All of us are very blessed because of the great water basins that we have in and around Pune. However, Pune as a city has been growing very fast, and the water levels are depleting at a ground level. Water is becoming a big issue for the city, and while Pune is still not reached a situation like Bangalore and some of the other cities, it is good to take that proactive step and take a focused effort on what we need to do. So this initiative we are doing along with Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics as well as Pune Knowledge Cluster. We started almost a year back, and we've had the opportunity to connect with a lot of experts in the area of water, including government, research institutions, technology giants, and so on and so forth. The other area that we are focusing on is on technology and innovation in education. We talked about digital revolution in India, but has it really been inclusive? Has it been touching the people who need it the most? So we have been talking to a lot of people who are innovating in this particular field and trying to get them together to see what of those technologies can potentially make a very big difference. And as Sir Mashelkar sir says, that inclusive innovation is very key. And we need to ensure that the high tech is available to the poorest in the country. So we've looked at various people who are innovating in this area. The third area, again, sir talked about it, and we had Archana Tosar ma'am and Ogle sir and other students from COEP attend a roundtable that we did just a month back on energy efficiency on sustainable lighting. While we have gone through a significant amount of revolution on LED technologies, what we have observed is people think that energy is as a resource. Now that LED lamps are cheaper, there is solar power, we can consume energy as we want it, but there is still a large part of India which is energy deficit, and energy is directly linked to climate impact that we are seeing because we are not necessarily on green energy everywhere. So we thought we will focus on this area. Semiconductors as an area of focus at PIC, we had taken up a very interesting initiative along with Taiwan. So those of you who are really aspirants on working in this industry, and I mentor a few kids, and one of the things which I tell their parents is, if you want to plan a vacation to Taiwan and give your kid the best gift that you could give to build an aspiration on being an expert in semiconductors or electronics in general. So we did one roundtable with the folks from Taiwan. Very interesting to know about all the investments that they did to be where they are, and potentially their help in enabling us to not just leapfrog, but pole vault, as Sir says, in the electronics and semiconductors field. The area that we are sort of working on, but we do see a huge potential, is on Digital India and the India Stack. In broader terms, the world knows it as digital public infrastructure or digital public goods. So there's a group which we have formed which is focused on looking at these areas and potentially organizing a DPI conference, an international DPI conference in Pune, a PIC international conference on DPI in Pune in a year's time. So that's one of our aspirations. We hope that we will get there. I'll just conclude with a few things which I wanted to share. I think it is good to do different things, but it's also important to do things differently. And what are we doing things differently? We're looking at some interesting ways. Many of us have grown and done engineering projects, but we've done it in groups of 4 or 5. Can an entire class do a project which can make a very big impact on a city that they live in? and they potentially will learn to operate as a large team in a collaborative way. Can we look at taking those steps? The other area we are discussing is about what would academic institutions and departments be in the future. We had a very interesting workshop just 10 days back at my alma mater in BJTI, and we discussed this particular topic. Another thing which I have been working with my colleagues in ENTC department on what should the ENTC department itself be, and transforming a department from just being a department to being an experience center. And lastly, I just want to highlight, while we have a very good focus on industry collaboration and industry academia collaboration, I think what is the missing link is that we also need to collaborate with a very large community of MSMEs, which are innovators and innovators, as Sir says, which potentially have a huge opportunity for a lot of innovative minds right here to contribute in their next orbit, as they would call it. So again, thank you for having me here and getting this, the opportunity to organize this event at COEP. I'm sure we will organize many more such events and ensure that COEP takes the next leap forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the update and for shedding light on the strategic priorities that are and should be shaping India's innovation landscape. To offer an international perspective and update on the collaborative efforts between US and India in the technology sector, I now invite Mr. Rob Anderson from the US Consulate for his insights on the significance of US-India collaborations in the domain. As a public diplomacy officer, Mr. Anderson plays a pivotal role in fostering partnerships that drive innovation. Mr. Anderson.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, and thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, just for the opportunity to be here. This is the first time, I think, that I've visited. Probably we in the consulate in some time have been at the College of Engineering. So this was a fantastic opportunity, and not the first time that we've participated in a Pune International Center event, but there's always so much happening here, and there are always people from the consulate in Pune almost on any given day, and I think so far I've been unsuccessful in convincing our government to let us move the consulate from Mumbai to Pune, but we'll keep trying. Because this really is, as was said already, I mean, this is where everything is happening. This is where research is happening, this is where the future is happening, and potential for, And in semiconductors, which we've heard and which you will hear, I think this is also where that is going to develop and expand. And so Pune, I think it's the right approach to approach it from one of global leadership in a way. I mean, you should really see yourselves not as the next Bangalore, but as the next, sort of leader on these cutting edge technological areas. And I think this digital, the digital stack and sort of showcasing that to the world is ready to learn from India, and I think we recognize that in the United States. When President Biden and Prime Minister Modi met last year, I guess, after their long, detailed conversation, they issued a joint statement which had 58 items. Now, I've been a diplomat for about 20 years, and I've never seen a joint statement with 58 items of collaboration and follow-up. I mean, this was a clear indication that this is the future, and I think the United States sees India as the future, and especially in this realm in the technological field and certainly in engineering. So you're all well positioned as students here to really be part of that. And I think I would encourage you to think about that too as you pursue your studies, and keep in mind this growing collaboration with the United States, because it is the future. And I think the more we build these linkages and we get more of you to the U.S. to study in our universities or to do your research or postgrad research there, the better. We're up to now 350 or maybe even more now, 360,000 Indian students in the United States this year, and you've surpassed China, so you're the #1 now sending country of students to the U.S. So, and the majority are in STEM fields, and you have an opportunity there after your studies to then work for a few years and get some experience, and then sort of bring that back to India. And I think that's the long-term kind of people-to-people collaboration that's going to keep this relationship going. On semiconductors, we're looking now at how, as the U.S. consulate, so when we look at this joint statement and we see these 58 items, I think our challenge is then how do we operationalize that and sort of put these items into action. And so that's what we're trying to do. And I think in Western India, semiconductors is one area where we certainly see potential, not just at the U.S. consulate, but also at the highest levels in the government in Washington. And I don't expect that will change with the new administration. I think maybe it would continue or even expand further. And right now there's a study, the OECD is doing a study on the semiconductor ecosystem. And so we're waiting for that study to come out, which will have some concrete recommendations, I think, for the U.S. And as a consulate, we're also holding various roundtables around Maharashtra and Gujarat, bringing this kind of, we hear about this, the triangle or whatever we want to call it, but the academia, industry, and government, and getting those sectors together to find out kind of practically also where the U.S. government or U.S. industry or U.S. academia can plug into that ecosystem. There's a lot of interest in the U.S. We hear from universities who are looking to partner and looking to get into India. There's for research, for joint research, for development on these things that are going to ensure supply chain diversification and resilience of our supply chain. So the time is exactly now. So you're in perfectly positioned to be a student of engineering at this moment. And so I just think we need to take advantage and capitalize on that moment. And on the, just quickly, if you do decide, I'll just say, if you do decide to pursue studies in the US, we have advisors that can help with that, and we can bring somebody out here to facilitate, and talk to some of you about options. And then we also have online virtual advising, but that we have a lot of free advising that the US government sanctions, so you don't have to pay for agents, and you can get that free advice and look at something that works for you and then for us and also for India and the US-India relationship in the future. So thanks again for letting us join today, and it's really great to be here, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for your insights. We now move to the keynote segment of this event. Our chief speaker, Ms. Jyotika Athavale, is a shining example of Indian talent making a global impact. Jyotika Athavale is RA's director in the CTO office at Synopsys, driving innovation in quality, reliability, and functional safety for automotive and data center silicon health use cases. Previously, she held key leadership roles at Intel Corporation and NVIDIA, spearheading RAS and functional safety architectures. She has served as the 2024 president of the IEEE Computer Society, overseeing global IEEE CS programs and operations. In her career, Ms. Athavale has championed cutting-edge advancements in the semiconductors industry. Jyotika ma'am, we eagerly await your address.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly an honor to be here today in the company of very esteemed dignitaries, including Dr. Mashelkar and all of the other distinguished leaders who are gathered here. I'd also like to humbly thank Dinanath Kolkar for organizing all these events today during my visit to India, and I'm truly grateful for that. So just to kick it off, I just wanted to share an example of how dependent we are getting on semiconductors in our day-to-day lives. I've written the notes for this particular talk on my phone, and as I looked at my phone as I was sitting there on the chair, I noticed that it's only at 6% battery. And so I was extremely nervous, hoping and praying that my phone doesn't die because I had captured the notes and I wouldn't know what to speak about. So it just kind of goes to show how dependent we are getting on semiconductors. It's scary, but really true. So fortunately, it didn't die, and so I'm going to switch over to my talk. And so if you're like me, you likely start your day scrolling on your phone, right? But have you ever wondered how our mobile phones are powered? Semiconductor technology powers not just our phones, but modern society at large. From components in our computer processors to medical imaging equipment, side panels, and more, semiconductors offer the foundation for today's technology-forward landscape. As we continue advancing computer science and engineering with technologies like AI growing in the use cases and accessibility, semiconductors play an even more pivotal role in the technology landscape, ensuring that we can achieve the high power, high bandwidth solutions required to fuel future needs. As we speak right now, there are incredible innovations that are happening in the computer science and engineering industry due to semiconductors. For instance, developments with autonomous vehicles, and that's also close to my day job, as well as the work I do in standardization in IEEE. And that technology is dependent on semiconductors. Already we're seeing enhancements in AI-based systems that will help autonomous vehicles. Manufacturers are developing advanced hardware, right, for training AI and semiconductor technology at its core to offer safe, efficient, and reliable solutions. AI itself also is increasing the demand on semiconductors. The pressure has resulted in research into AI accelerators and high bandwidth memory. For one, chiplet-based AI accelerators are emerging to address AI workloads and at the same time maintain competitive performance. Semiconductor research is essential to address the increasing societal demands for computing, data, information efficiency, and therefore for a modern world. With the semiconductor industry in such a dynamic, growing place, technology transfer between countries like the United States and India will be critical to address the broader global evolution in this field. As the 2024 president of the IEEE Computer Society, I've had the pleasure of witnessing firsthand the power of global scientific and engineering collaboration. Partnerships like these lead to targeted job creation, ensuring new opportunities in market to address critical infrastructure needs. Paired with that, we can also benefit from the strengthening of the supply chain as efforts are complemented rather than duplicated. So it's really a win-win to pursue this kind of global collaboration. When we share a vision for the future, we all benefit from open, engaged scientific and engineering collaboration. So what does it mean to be a student today? Are you a STEM student? Are you also worried about finding a job? Here's what you need to know. Having a deeper understanding of how the semiconductor technology can evolve fundamentally and how it needs to be deployed will be critical to emerging markets. Computer science and engineering disciplines certainly support the path towards a broader awareness of semiconductor technologies and how they support new areas of focus, like AI, and intersect with verticals. Note that a lot of innovation today is happening at the intersection of these technologies as we are getting more and more into interdisciplinary areas, including energy, healthcare, manufacturing, and more. In addition, as societal reliance on digital solutions mounts, understanding the foundational technologies that support them will help you to apply your knowledge in a broad variety of industries. And as I mentioned, the interdisciplinary nature of science and engineering today means that tomorrow's workforce needs to have both the depth as well as the breadth of knowledge. So be open to exploring not only detailed engineering and scientific concepts, but also their applicability to society. And finally, I'd like to touch upon another important topic that is really linked very closely to IEEE, whose mission is to foster technological innovation for the benefit of humanity, and that topic is sustainability. Sustainability, as we know, is the need of the hour, and semiconductor technology is no exception. Solutions supported by semiconductor technologies take power to operate, but in today's environmentally conscious global landscape, research efforts seek to evolve the underpinning technology to be more sustainable and energy efficient. For example, IEEE's inaugural Sustain Tech Leadership Summit that we inaugurated last year in August of 2024, we convened the global engineering community to seek out ways to lessen the energy outputs from data centers and the overall built environment. One key piece of that finding is more energy efficient means, finding more energy efficient means of transferring data, which involves foundational technologies like semiconductors. The semiconductor industry specifically is working to develop more efficient chip technology. In addition, work continues to address the industry's energy use during manufacturing, as well as both its direct and indirect climate emissions. As technology scales on, so too does the industry's commitment to sustainable technologies. So we talked about various technologies here that are advancing, including AI, including sustainability, including autonomous vehicles, technologies like digital twins, 3D printing, healthcare, are all reliant on semiconductors. And so, the opportunity is there, and we look forward to working together across the globe, across the boundaries, to address the needs and challenges that lie ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyotika ma'am, for sharing your insights into the semiconductor ecosystem and for inspiring us with your journey. Next, we have an engaging conversation lined up between our event chairperson, Dr. Ritu Sodhi, and Ms. Jyotika Athavale. I now request the rest of the dignitaries to please take a seat at the front. Dr. Sodhi is a highly respected technical consultant in power semiconductor devices with expertise in advancing the capabilities of these critical technologies. Currently, she is an advisor to CEMIX at IIT Bombay. Over to you, Dr. Sodhi.
Thank you very much, Nupur. And first of all, thank you for inviting me to this event, especially Dinanath. I really appreciate it. It's my pleasure and an absolute honor to be here to talk about a topic that is so relevant, like we've already heard from all the speakers so far. And it's such a pleasure to share the stage with Jyotika and have this chat with her about this topic. So welcome, I guess, Jyotika, for this section of the event. So like we've already heard, I think everyone touched upon the need for being self-reliant, right? This whole Atmanirbhar topic, which is very relevant these days. Now, we've been hearing for a long time that India was trying to get into semiconductor manufacturing. It's been, at least 5-6 years, even more when people started to look at it. But things didn't work out. And I guess as we know, then COVID hit. And I think that really brought the point home that we have to be self-reliant in everything. We need to have the full ecosystem in place to survive. And like we heard that, and we know that semiconductors are such an integral part of our daily lives. Like you just mentioned, everything that we work with has some semiconductor component in it. So right along those lines, I think the Indian government, they started these initiatives. The India Semiconductor Mission came into being. The incentives that our government came up with are quite unparalleled in the sense, how much motivation there was being put forward for people to come forth and set up, semiconductor manufacturing, whether it's fabrication facilities or assembly houses. And we can see that, in 23 is when Micron was the first one to come forward, and they set up, or they started setting up their assembly and test house in Gujarat. And then 2024, I think, has been an amazing year, with Tata Electronics taking the lead for their fabrication facility that's coming up in Tolera, their assembly and test facility coming up in Assam. We have CG Power in association with Renesas, and more recently Keynes, that have also come forward to set up an assembly and test facility. So these are the ones that are already moving along. We also have some that are in the pipeline. We've got startup company Electric that is looking into setting up a silicon carbide device manufacturing facility in Mysore. We have some initiatives in Bhubaneswar. And then just a couple of days back, I read an article about Indie Semiconductor also tying up with a Japanese organization to set up another silicon carbide power device manufacturing in Andhra Pradesh. So there is a lot of momentum, which is extremely exciting. And we know that things are eventually moving forward. And, sure enough, these activities will make India likely the global hub for semiconductors. So I'm going to now hand it over to you, Jyotika, to see, in your experience and your perspective, how do you see this drive going forward, and what do you see the role of companies like Synopsys and also you as part of the Computer Society? How do you see this growth and these initiatives moving forward?
Thanks a lot, Ritu. It's really a pleasure and honor to share the stage with you and to hear your perspectives. And I'm learning a lot, just as you were speaking, about how the semiconductor landscape is evolving in India. And that's great to hear. It's really wonderful because, we are working in the US and my company Synopsys through IEEE on various initiatives, as we work to support innovation and advancement in technologies related to semiconductors. And really, as we are working that, looking at it more from a global perspective, we do know there's a chip shortage. As we move forward, and advance new technologies like AI, like autonomous vehicles, and others, we are going to need more and more. There's more demand, right, for semiconductors and for chip development in general. And so, what we are trying to do in IEEE is really bring the community together. Look beyond the boundaries, but really come together to address these challenges from a global perspective, bringing together industry, bringing together academia and government. Last year, we kicked off a few initiatives. Sustain Tech was one of those that I talked about, but besides that, we also introduced RAS Summit. So RAS is Reliability, Availability, Sustainability. So we did the first one on data centers, which was in June in San Jose, and then the second RAS Summit was in December and focused on automotive, and that was in Italy. And we purposefully did them in different geos. And also focused on two different verticals, right? One being the data center and the other being automotive, which are two, high focus and demand verticals that are growing today. But the main reason for doing those initiatives was the challenges that we are seeing today in those industries cannot be solved by any one company anymore. Right? We need to come together as a community to address those challenges and to work together to advance innovation and technological innovation in those areas. I think the same applies to the chips, topic, and with respect to manufacturing. It is a global issue. It is a global problem. Besides just initiatives and activities that we are driving in the U.S. with respect to workforce development, new fabs, I think that same problem statement applies across the globe in the other geos as well. So, I really think by working together, by collaborating, we can amplify impact, we can solve the challenges together, and we can address, the need to support innovation moving forward.
That is so true. Collaboration, I think right now that is the way to go. We all realize that, whether it's within India and, I was mentioning to Dinanath and some of the other colleagues also that even locally when we talk about collaboration between different institutes and all is very important. But yeah, I think, globally, that's the only way to make it happen, right? So I just wanted to also, make a point, something along the lines that Rob was talking about, the relationship that is building between United States and India. I see that from a lot of manufacturers also, the US-based manufacturers who are very keen on working with India and bringing the technical expertise and helping India set up their facilities, and it's very encouraging to see that. The next point that I want to bring up with you, it's great to have these plans and starting to set up things, but then at the very core, what we need to figure out is the people. The talent that we have. Okay, we'll set up these facilities, but we need people to run these facilities. And it's not one category. It's a full range of talent that we need, starting from operators, technicians, engineers, innovators, or senior R&D people, the managers. I mean, it's a full spectrum of talent pool that we need to really sustain a lot of these activities that are starting. And I'd just like to take a minute to just talk about the center that I'm associated with. It's the Center of Excellence in Semiconductors called CEMIX at IIT Bombay. And what better organizations other than educational institutes to really help with this talent development. So at CEMIX, workforce development is one of our top 3 charters that we have. And we are addressing that by offering different kinds of courses, short courses, longer term courses, online, offline, to not only help the students, but also young professionals in industry to upskill. So, and Synopsys has been a very close partner in some of those training programs. And so a lot of these activities are happening, like I said, so in one of our online courses where we were going through a virtual fabrication training, we had Tata Electronics send like over 100 employees so that they could get some basic training before they go to the real fab. We have teachers coming in from Gujarat for training over at IIT, in more of a train the trainers programs. So, there are a lot of activities going on, and I'm sure there is a lot at all the other institutes and centers as well. I'm not sure if you're aware, Jyotika, even, Ministry of Education has actually formed a committee called the DevSet. It's the Development of Semiconductor Ecosystem and Talent. There are representatives from multiple IITs, IISc Bangalore, and all who are part of that committee. And the aim is to take this talent development to a national level, not just restricted to one university or the other, but build it at a national scale. So, and we absolutely need it. There's no way so many fabs and assembly houses will survive without having the talent pool that is needed. So again, I want to get your thoughts on, you have already touched a little bit about workforce development, but whether as a Synopsys representative or an IEEE CS representative, how do you see, I think, your role or these, the role of these companies and societies to help with this workforce development, and also any recommendations that you would have for people in India as to how to address it, because it is a big challenge. It's a huge opportunity as well. So we need to see, how do we really take it forward?
Yeah, thanks a lot for sharing, Ritu. And, I just wanted to share from a synopsis standpoint, and have the two hats, the synopsis and the IEEE. Synopsis has a SARA program, where they work very closely with, in collaboration with universities. And, this topic with respect to semiconductors, workforce development, they are working with teams across the globe, again, including India. We have offices in Bangalore, in Pune, and other cities. So the outreach, working with universities to, on training programs, certification programs, developing courses, new courses, materials. So that's one that also in my role in IEEE, I'm trying to work with the SARA team internally at Synopsys to see how we can collaborate there. But within the computer society and within IEEE, one of the initiatives is looking at what are the skills needed by the future workforce, right? Because we are seeing so much evolution and technology is advancing so rapidly. So, with the advancements in AI, which are the skills that will be relevant or which will change, and what does the student in the university today need to do to prepare themselves for this future job? Again, with as you mentioned, with the new fabs and all that push for having a skilled workforce that will be able to operate those fabs. We want to make sure they have the necessary skills, and currently there's a shortage of that in the US as well. So many initiatives are happening within IEEE, also through IEEE USA, which has an ad hoc committee on semiconductors and workforce development. So there's activities such as summits and webinars. I was in a packaging chips with chips event in Scottsdale, Arizona, a couple months ago, where we had panels between various semiconductor companies that are based there. TSMC is setting up a big plant there. Intel has their fabs there as well. And so we talked about basically the supply chain issues, what are the reliability, safety concerns moving forward. Then there's work happening in standards development, which I'm close to because that was my pathway in IEEE, is through standards development. So my advice, to students is, and this is one of the things I mentioned also at Cummings College, where we were just before this, is to broaden your your skill set beyond just what you're learning in the classroom, and being associated with a platform like IEEE equips you with those, exposure to those skills that you can learn and grow yourself across the different program board areas, right? So we have within IEEE activities and standards, in publications, through conferences, through educational activities, through chapter activities. And that's where you can, engage and grow your awareness, grow your skills, sign up for training programs, sign up for webinars, sign up for certification programs. And so you can help to plan how you want to navigate your path based on that. Otherwise, you're kind of sitting in a bubble. And I'm telling you that also from my perspective, because that's what I did. That was my mistake. So as a student, I wasn't really as aware of the world around me. But as a professional, I learned that that's really important to grow yourself, and more so now, because now technology is really advancing at a very rapid pace. I have a son in college, and he tells me how difficult it is to find a job today, even with his current skill set, just because the needs of the market are changing very rapidly. So keeping yourself relevant and making sure you have the right skills based on watching how the technology is evolving and watching how you can be needed in that hour is really important.
No, I completely agree. And I think just being relevant, being up to date with how things are happening is very critical. Often we hear from industry folks, and I think I'm guilty of that as well at times, that, we say, oh, we need the students to be industry ready. And then, of course, that is an ideal situation that a student goes to an industry and like from day one can start contributing. But for that, we need to help the students, right? We need to offer them internships or, have, like you said, seminars and webinars, from industry experts, workshops by industry experts. So students can learn, about more industry relevant problems. So, so there's an expectation, but then there's also an accountability that we need to help the students get to that point. And like you mentioned in your address earlier, I think this is a very exciting time for students. There's so much happening, there's so much opportunity. So I think it's great for the students right now. It's an excellent phase that we're going through. But thank you very much again, Jyotika, for this conversation, and thank you to the audience and the organizers once again. It is a challenge, it is an opportunity, and I think India is very well placed for that right now. We all have to work together between industry, academia, with government support, of course, but I think we can get there very soon, and there's a lot of things happening, and it's just very, very encouraging to see that. So thank you once again, and thank all of you.
We now open the floor to some quick questions that those watching might have. A short Q&A of 5 to 7 minutes. Just raise your hand and we'll get the mic to you.
I want to just ask about the government role in this semiconductor industry, because they are providing subsidies to the Tatas which are going to develop the 28 nm fab, and the most emerging technologies and the companies such as Samsung, TSMC, Intel are working on 3 nm fab. So we are going to develop in 2027 the 28 nm fab. So why government is not able to approach these companies to make the latest technology in India? And the best of the engineers in these companies are Indians. Why aren't they seeing this?
Okay, I'll try to answer that question. So first of all, I think, so government is providing a lot of incentives to companies, like you mentioned, Tata's, to set up these facilities. I think it's in our mindset that we have to go after the best technology node that is there, but I think we need to take a step back and see what is the application. Do we need that 3 nanometer technology in India? And for that, the answer is no. So at this time, because we are going to start building it for our own requirements first, and then of course it will be a foundry that others can also use. So majority of the applications that we are looking at in India, whether it's automotives or computing or industrial, we don't need a 3 nanometer node for that. And it's not very easy to get there. So I think starting off with something which has a higher chance of success and which addresses the applications you have, I think that is a much more intelligent way going forward. So it's not about the qualification level of engineers. It's about what you need and what makes more sense from a market point of view. So I don't know. I hope I answered your question. Thanks.
Ma'am, the point is that we are assembling the phones in India that are using the chips of 7 nanometer from abroad.
Yes.
So it's need that the latest technology should be in India.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not that easy to manufacture. When you're starting up, you have to also just, go for something where you can succeed. But assembling a 7 nanometer technology fab or product is different from actually building it. Do you really need to build that chip? The other point I want to also make over here is that it's not, when you're starting up, you can't really compete with TSMC and Intels and fabs like that. It's not going to work. So you have to find a niche for yourself where you can succeed. Those people have been around for many, many years. They've got the technology completely mastered. And, to come in aiming for that is not very practical. So I think from that point, it's much more, sensible to start at some point where you can find enough applications. You're not directly competing with TSMCs of the world. And you can be successful in that. And going forward, of course, there's nothing stopping us from eventually getting to those advanced nodes as well.
Thanks, Ritu. Yeah, I fully agree with your point. I also wanted to just add that for those sub-3 nanometer and sub-3 nanometer process technology nodes, the main market there is data centers. And currently, those big data centers, the investment there is happening in the US and other countries. As Ritu mentioned, for phones and other IoT type markets, you don't really need that, the new gate-all-around or sub-3 nanometer process technology node. A mature FinFET-based technology is more suitable for those type of applications. So you really need to look at the vertical and what is applicable in the country at that point. I think in the future, when India starts to invest in more of those data center plans, then having those cutting edge technologies will be more suitable.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
I'm Sripad Mirashi, PIC member. I think very few people maybe or here may know that there was a company, Semiconductors, in Pune. It was almost 40 years back or so. And the company could not sustain. I mean, they had to close down. Many efforts of semiconductor manufacturing in India have failed because this industry is much more advanced. You need foundry technology. You need for creating wafers. You need superb fabrication facility, and cleanliness is, you need ultra clean rooms. What I can request this gathering, in US, there is one exhibition, Semicon, which takes place all over East, West, South, North. The Semicon exhibition exhibits so many equipments and facets of semiconductor industry. If we could organize one other Semicon show in India, the Indian industry will get a glimpse of this kind of industry, and this is what IEEE or somebody can try. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just, I have not been to the ones in India, but I believe we've had the Semicon India that happened, I think this was the second year that we had it in Delhi, I guess, this time. But I have not attended, so I can't really speak too much for it as to, what all, who all were the exhibitors and participants, but I believe it was something along the lines of Semicon West or, in the US. And there were several manufacturers who came and represented, their organizations and showcased their latest technology. So it is happening, but it just started a couple of years ago. But your point is very well taken. I think we need that. especially as we are getting into more of these fabrication and assembly setups.
One more point.
Just
Yeah,
one more
sure.
thing I would like to mention. In 1970, as a Hindu Hitachi scholar, I went to Japan for 1 year and I took training in semiconductor industry at that time. And at that time was for India, I think we were far behind. Even Hitachi company, they stopped semiconductor, some of the semiconductors, because this industry was, I mean, they could not cope with the scale of this industry. So I think at the government, at the highest level, a very good planning is required.
Yes.
Otherwise, you see, it could have more waste.
Yes, yes. I think even in my experience, a mature company like Intel, we went through a lot of challenges in manufacturing on the 10 nanometer process technology node and beyond. So it took a while. So to offset those challenges, and now moving forward in the chiplet-based systems, which is the upcoming trend, it allows for heterogeneous integration. So you can have multiple process technology nodes, chips from multiple process technology nodes on a single system. And that was done primarily to address this problem with poor yield, right? So you're going to see that poor yield if you're not ready to manufacture on a new cutting-edge process technology node. So starting on an older process technology node makes more sense in an economy like India.
It does, yeah, it absolutely does. And I think your points you mentioned, it is an extremely challenging undertaking, having setting up a fabrication facility. So yeah, that's why we have to start at some point where we know we have a higher chance of making it happen. A similar conversation happens on the power side also. People say, okay, we need to build silicon carbide devices because they all go into automotives, and with Tesla kind of leading that way. But then we have to again step back and see that, okay, in Indian market, majority of the EVs are the two-wheelers. And so, the market size is more for the two-wheelers, less for the cars. So we have to kind of, base it on that as to what technology makes sense to start with. And then extend it, as there is a need. And so.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sodhi and Jyotika ma'am for the conversation.
Thank you very much.
As we approach the conclusion of this session, we have a special moment to celebrate. I request all the dignitaries to be seated on the stage. And I invite Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar to felicitate Dr. Sunil Birod. Also, Dr. Ritu Sodhi. Mr. Rob Anderson. And Ms. Jyotika Athavale. On this occasion, we are delighted to share that Pune International Center is extending honorary membership to Ms. Jyotika Athavale, recognizing her exceptional contributions and dedication to the field. This honorary membership symbolizes our deep respect and appreciation for her invaluable impact in the field of technology and innovation.
Sorry for disturbing, but I just want to read out the letter that Dr. Mashelkar is wanting to give to Jyotika Athavale for the honorary membership. Dear Dr. Athavale, we are very proud that an alumnus of our very own VJTI has risen to the most prestigious position of IEEE Computer Society 2024 President. On behalf of the Pune International Center, please accept our heartiest congratulations. Your influential role shaped by your extensive career in major tech companies like Synopsys, NVIDIA, and Intel Corporation, along with your tireless work in driving international standards in functional safety, such as IEEE P2851, has shown us your amazing thought and action leadership. You have not only been a leader in innovative technologies, but also a role model for advancing women in the STEM and other underrepresented groups, inspiring the next generation of engineers to rise as global leaders. It is with great pleasure and privilege that we celebrate your inspiring life and work with honoring you with honorary membership of Pune International Center.
Now I request Dr. Sunil Birud to felicitate Dr. Mashelkar. Dr. Ritu Sodhi. Mr. Rob Anderson. Ms. Jyotika Athavale. And General Nitin Gadkari. Thanks to both of you for the felicitation. I request the dignitaries to take a seat on the stage. To conclude this remarkable event, I'm privileged to invite General Nitin Gadkari, Director of Pune International Center, to deliver his closing remarks. Over to you, General.
Respected Dr. Mashelkar, President PIC, Dr. Sunil Birud, Vice Chancellor, COEP Tech, Mrs. Jyotika Athavale, President IEEE Computer Society, Mrs. Ritu Sodhi, Mr. Rob Anderson, who's become my friend by now. We moved so many times up and down. Dr. Dinanath Kelkar, my friend, colleague, who is a research track lead at the PIC and also the convener of this event. So as I stand before you, dear students, respected staff, and distinguished guests, I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous because I'm supposed to give concluding remarks on a subject which I never studied in school or in college. Notwithstanding that, being the PIC director, it is my privilege to say a few words. In 1975, Gordon Moore, co-founder of Intel, had remarked that number of components per single chip would double every second year, every 2 years. That observation went on to become the Moore's law. And in decades that followed, Gordon Moore's original observation on Moore's law governed the semiconductor industry in a long-term planning, setting targets for research and development. It has been driving force of the technological and social change, productivity, and economic growth that have been the hallmark of 20th and 21st century. And while the world rapidly advanced, India was somewhere lagging behind. And I wish to quote a personal anecdote. Way back in 2002, when I was attending a symposium on Indian software, I'd asked a question to the speaker, "Sir, while it's good to develop the software, but why is there no advancement in hardware in IT or computers?" So stumped, he thought for a while and said, "Investment in hardware is way beyond our expectations, and maybe we haven't reached that level of expertise for the government to think of giving a nod for setting up hardware components." In retrospect, I think the speaker was right in his assessment. But today, what was once a distant dream has now become a reality. The semiconductor industry in India, with the support of the Indian government, has taken off on a trajectory of exponential growth. The government has already established a Semicon India mission, which is a specialized and independent business division within the Digital India Corporation that aims to build a vibrant semiconductor and display ecosystem to enable India's emergence as a global hub for electronics, manufacturing, and design. Indian government is very focused on this critical objective of building the overall semiconductor ecosystem in India, and that is why in December 2022, rupees 76,000 crore incentive package was announced by the government. The financial backing aims to attract industry players and stimulate investment in the semiconductor infrastructure. This program, in its brief span, has already attracted an FDI of $18 billion from potential collaborators, and a lot of that has been spoken about by everybody on this stage. Now, Tata Electronics, again been spoken about, has set up a fabrication plant and testing facility in Gujarat and Assam, as has been said by all the speakers here. These initiatives are poised to bolster India's semiconductor manufacturing capabilities and contribute to the country's technological self-reliance, which was the subject of the talk today. Couple this with a major project, Micron, which has approved nearly 22,000 crores, and Tata's joint venture with Taiwan's Powerchip. I think Mrs. Ritu Sodhi mentioned that. There is an indication that semiconductor industry is well on course in India. There are 5 such proposals with a total combined investment of nearing 1.52 lakhs. As we know, the global semiconductor industry supply chain severely was disrupted during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is the reason why countries across the world have taken a new look at the semiconductor strategies, which has given India the chance to get into this industry. And what is helping India? India's strong foundation in design capacity, large talent pool, and support of a world-class educational institution like yours are the key factors in positioning the country for success of the semiconductor sector. Additionally, India's status as the world's largest democracy and its respect for international law and intellectual property protection creates a business-friendly environment for semiconductor industry. Thus, India's foray into semiconductor industry is not only well-timed, but also richly deserved. Well, it does not mean that we are there. It's a long, arduous role that's been brought out in the question and answer session, and we have to compete with the best. There are lots of challenges and lots of competition, but sure, with the supporting environment and the entrepreneurial spirit that exists here, we will get there, as Mrs. Ritu Sodhi did mention. Now, we at PIC make an endeavor to encourage such challenging and thought-provoking dialogues and interactions in Pune, in particular, in the country in general. PIC hosted this particular interaction with the help of COEP, and I, on behalf of PIC and all members of PIP, including Dr. Mashelkar, thank the Vice Chancellor of COEP for allowing this to happen in their premises. I also thank Jyotika Athavale for expounding her thoughts and sharing her knowledge with the students and faculty, and also thank Dr. Ritu Sodhi for a very lively and fruitful discussion with the guest speaker. With these thoughts, I leave the student of COEP with a food of thought. Has the Moore's law come to its limit, 2 nanometers, or will it go down? Keep your thinking hats on till we meet next time. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you to all. Thank you for being with us, and we wish you a wonderful evening ahead. We conclude with the national anthem, requesting all to stand up.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे